Hi guys and ladies, here we are back in Intermediate English Conversation for week 9 at Namso University, the COVID-19 semester. So last week I had some of you guys in the Zoom class, but I apologize to Monday class. Monday class, we had some kind of problem with that, so my internet broke and the cafe internet broke, and it was just a very bad situation. And I had to go to campus and teach the freshman classes because the freshmen are already back. So Monday classes, I'm very sorry about that. But we hopefully have already made that up this Monday, right? This Monday. So, and then the Tuesday students, Tuesday had Children's Day, and you guys should be having a makeup class as well in Zoom, in our Zoom class, right? So that shouldn't be a big problem. So I hope I can see you guys there. If I cannot, then that's okay. I just like to do Zoom because I think it's a little bit fun to talk to you guys, and this is intermediate class, but technology always fails somehow, right? It always makes a problem. Nowadays, it's a little bit more complicated too because I have both classes on campus and classes on Zoom, and I have to run back to my apartment after Zoom class or after our real class and try to hook up the Zoom very quickly, and it's a little bit complicated. So please forgive me if sometimes it doesn't work. Especially, I know you guys wake up early so you can do the Zoom class. So I'm really sorry about my internet breaking last week to Monday students. But Wednesday, Thursday students went pretty good. So, okay. Oh, right. Very important information I wanted to show you guys. Some students in Jungkook class, they accidentally signed up for my sports business class. Now, some students did this. So they went to my portal and they signed up for the wrong class and they did the wrong assignments, and I don't know how it happened, but it happened. So those students, most of you know who you are. You know what you did. So I think it's not a big problem anymore. But if you didn't, then if you're in my Jungkook class, but you signed up for the wrong class, then you have to please fix this problem. Okay? So the list of students should only be for sports business class, okay? So I'm going to show you a list of students, and these are all of the students who signed up for my sports business class, okay? This is a different major. This is related to sports management, and we study English and sports. Some of the material is a little bit the same, but some of it is very, very different. So the test is really different. Um, the assignments are really different. So you need to understand that. And if you're in my sports business portal, but not sports business major, you have to change. Most of you did it and you finished it, but if you didn't, these are the codes. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday class for Jungkook Hwa. These are the codes. You should have gotten them on week 2 or week 3, but some students took my code from sports business and they entered the wrong class and they didn't know it for 7 weeks. Online is hard, I know, but if you are not taking sports business major, you should not be in sports business class. Okay, you should not be in it. Here are the list of all of the students who signed up for sports business class. Okay, here are the list of all of the students who signed up for my sports business class. Now, some of these students are sports business majors, so they should be in this class. Some of these students are not sports business major. They are you, and you signed up for the wrong class. Now, most of you fixed the problem, but some of you did not, okay? Some of you did not. So if you see your name here, but you are not a sports business major, then you need to change your portal class, okay? That's on the code on the second slide here. That is the code in the second slide. You understand? You have to change it, and you have to go in and you have to do the assignments for 중급 회화, not the assignments for sports business, okay? Please, please, please do this. I cannot do this. You have to do this, okay? This is not difficult. You have to do this. Most of you, this is not important for you, but some of you who signed up for the wrong class, it is very, very, very important that you do it, okay? So please, if you haven't fixed this problem, please fix it now. Please fix it now, okay? Some of you, you don't come to Zoom class, so I couldn't tell you. Okay, if you don't come to Zoom class and you don't respond to messages, then I cannot give you a score for the assignments that you didn't do. So again, check and make sure that you are in 중급 회화 in our portal. You are in 중급 회화 in our portal. You are not in sports business. Not in sports business. If you are in sports business, you have to use the code from this PPT and enter the correct class. Okay. Most of you fixed the problem. Some of you didn't. Please do it ASAP now, today, and finish the assignments. Okay. Without further ado. Okay, so review. We're going to talk again about comparatives and superlatives. We talked about them last week, but I think maybe we went over them a little bit too fast. So I want to make sure that we go over them slowly so that you guys can understand them a little bit better, because they will be on the quiz and they will be on the test, okay? So they compare two or more different things. They compare two or more different things, and there are different rules for comparing two things than there are for comparing more than two things. So there's no three things, four things, there's only two things or more than two things if we're doing comparatives and superlatives. So it's important to know that distinction. That's how you tell how to talk about these comparisons, is if it's comparing two things or if it's comparing more than two things. All right. And then you have to check about spelling and the irregular forms, because they can be very tricky. They're the trickiest part of comparatives and superlatives. As you know, English spelling can be very, very complicated. It's one of the most difficult things about English reading and writing. I'm sure that you agree, right? So you have to check the spelling, and you have to make sure that you're conforming to the rules of comparatives and superlatives, okay? Okay, so we're going to go in and we're going to review that a little bit with some slides that I made, and we're going to do some things in the book a little bit if you haven't already done them. And I'm trying to use the book as much as possible, guys. It's not always easy to use the book. In fact, you know, for the online semester, if I knew we were going to be online for the whole semester, I probably would not choose the book. I would just do some things online and so on, but I didn't know we were going to be online for the whole semester. I thought just a few weeks, but I'm trying to do the book as much as possible, because actually I think for an English book in the university, I think it's a pretty good book. And you guys did buy the book, and I want you to be able to use it. So every week I try to do at least a little bit of the book, or some things from the workbook, or I assign it for homework. I know maybe you hate the book and you don't want to do it, But, I think it's important if we bought it, we should use it. And I think, like I said, it does have many useful things in it. And for English books in Korea, I think it's a pretty high quality book. It's a pretty high quality book, okay? So we're going to look at the book a little bit today. So let's take a look at these two things. We've got two different games here, right? Do you recognize these games? Well, of course you do. On the left side, we have League of Legends, one of the most popular PC games in Korea. And the other side, we have, what is it? One of the most popular games in the world right now, Nintendo's Animal Crossing, or I think you guys call it, what, 동물숲? Animal Forest, right? So these games, do you like them? Well, of course, if you're a gamer, you probably love these. If you're a Nintendo person, you probably like Animal Crossing. And we're all stuck at home these days, so I'm sure you're playing them a lot. You can see Nelson from The Simpsons. He's pointing at these two things. What does he say? Which game is more fun? What's your opinion? Well, I wrote Animal Crossing is more fun or funner than League of Legends. Maybe you disagree with me, but I think that that's true. So fun is a kind of hard one. Fun can sometimes be funner because it's one syllable word, but occasionally you can hear people say more fun. Both of them sound a little bit strange to me. It's not something we usually say, but on a test, both of those things can be right. So Animal Crossing is more fun than League of Legends, or Animal Crossing is funner than League of Legends. Don't let anybody tell you that one of those is more correct than the other. I think in English, in American English or Canadian English, we usually say both of these things. So it just depends on the person. Usually there's a 100% correct answer, but I wanted to show you that sometimes we can use both. I know that's hard on the TOEIC test because the TOEIC wants you to give the absolute correct answer according to the person who wrote the test, but real English doesn't work like that. Real English and real Korean don't work like that. Sometimes there's no 100% correct one single answer. Okay, the next one. You know who it is? Justin Bieber and J-Hope from BTS, right? Both young boys. Justin Bieber, he's kind of ajushi now, right? But you say J-Hope is handsomer or more handsome than Justin Bieber. This is another one. Handsome or more handsome can both be used with this one. Again, I wanted to show you guys that any of these things can be possible. Any of these things, both of these answers can be possible in this type of one, to show you that there are many, many different answers for certain comparative adjectives. It just depends. Do you agree that J-Hope is more handsome than Justin Bieber? Well, they're both their own kind of type. J-Hope is kind of very soft looking. Justin Bieber's he's also soft. He's very boyish, right? But he's gotten a little bit older now, right? So maybe you might think J-Hope is cuter. Okay, so again, handsomer, more handsome are both technically correct. Again, don't let anybody tell you that one is absolutely better than the other one. How about this? Okay, so there's only one picture this time. So if there's only one picture, how might I want to say this? What movie is that? Well, you know, in Korean it's called Panji Ijewang, right? In English, what do we call that? Well, not King of the Rings, because Korean doesn't have a word for Lord, but the actual name of the name of the game is Lord of the Rings, right? It was one of my favorite books when I was like a middle school student, and it's a pretty good movie. The books are much, much more beautiful, but much more beautiful to me. They're not the most beautiful books, in my opinion, but they're pretty good. I would say if you're a kid and Lord of the Rings is not your favorite book, I think it's very sad. And if you're an adult and Lord of the Rings is still your favorite book, I think that's also very sad. I'm sorry, Harry Potter fans, but I think Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter's okay. It's cute. It's kind of fun, but Lord of the Rings is much, much cooler, in my opinion. It's much more beautiful. I'm sorry. Please don't kill me, Harry Potter fans. But we're going to talk about superlative. We're going to compare Lord of the Rings to all the different movies, all the possible different movies that you can have. And in that case, I would say Lord of the Rings is the longest movie I've ever seen. Okay, probably in your case that's true. I've seen some longer movies, but Lord of the Rings is one of the longest movies I've ever seen in the cinema, in the Yonghagwan. In fact, I think Lord of the Rings started a trend of new movies being very, very long. But in fact, now we have very long TV shows on Netflix, so Lord of the Rings seems short. Did you know that there's going to be a Lord of the Rings TV series on Amazon soon? Yes, it's coming. So if you really like fantasy movies, get ready because you're going to be able to watch it every week. Who is it? Of course, everybody knows this guy. Maybe the first time you seen him was in the World Cup in 2009 when Argentina played against Korea, and Korea did really bad, but they did score one goal. But they were up against the best team in the world, right? Argentina won that year, right? But they were really, really awesome that year, unbeatable, and Korea just couldn't compete. And I think that's when many people first learned about Lionel Messi, right? He's an Argentinian player who played for Spain. So think about a superlative sentence that could describe Lionel Messi. Greatest, best, most amazing, best striker. Well, he's not, Lionel Messi is the best player who's ever lived. Well, I don't think that's really true because I think some of the old players like Pele and Maradona were like really amazing guys. Really, really amazing guys. Messi is pretty good for this age, but probably not the best player ever. If you're a football fan, who is your actual favorite player? Who have you always liked? Who's your favorite Korean player? Who is the best team currently playing in Europe? Who is the best player currently in Korea? Who has scored the most points among all Korean players? Again, comparative and superlative, we can talk about almost anything in comparatives and superlative if we know the adjective. Okay. So comparatives and superlatives are special forms of adjectives. They're used to compare two or more things. Generally, comparatives are formed using ER, and superlatives are formed using EST. Now, you remember we talked about that last week, and it's also in your book, and probably, if you're intermediate, this is a review for you. But I hear almost every conversation, students using these somewhat incorrectly, and even people who've studied English for a very long time using these incorrectly. So we're going to review them just a bit so that you can get better at it. The use of comparatives. Comparatives are used to compare two things. You can use sentences with than, or you can use a conjunction like but. Michael is taller than John. John is tall, but Michael is taller. So again, two things, and it's very important that you would join these two things either with the auxiliary than, conjunction than, or the conjunction but. Okay, both of these work in a similar way, but of course, but has a slightly different meaning, as though you're contrasting these two things. You're contrasting, or you're showing a little bit more how they are different. Okay, so again, remember, comparative is when you compare or show the differences between two different things. In this case, the height of Michael and John. Of course, tall is a one-syllable word, and tall is always going to be conjugated, taller and tallest. I don't think we ever say in English more tall or most tall. It sounds, to my native speaker ear, it sounds just not really correct, okay? Okay, used to superlative. So now we have three things. So we can talk about superlatives. Superlatives is always three or more different things, comparing three or more different things. Super, of course, means like big or great or amazing, right? So superlatives are used to compare more than two things, and superlative sentences usually use the because there is only one superlative. So they're usually going to use the definitive article, the, to talk about it because there's only one. There's superlative, it's super, it's the best, so one. So Brian is the tallest in class. John is tall and Michael is taller, but Brian is the tallest. Okay, again, we still use but, or we can use than. But in any case, we can also use the. We could say Brian is tallest, that's also fine. But we're going to generally use the when we're talking about superlatives, when we're talking about the tallest or the greatest thing in the list of superlatives. Okay, so again, John is tall, Michael is taller, but Brian is the tallest. And you can think of your own sentence here that would fit these. Okay. Again, we have just a little form here you can see explaining the adjective form of some things. An adjective that ends in E, such as fine, we make a comparative with finer, and we make the superlative with finest. Okay, the adjective that has one vowel and one consonant at the end, such as hot, the vowel being O and the consonant being T, big, the vowel being I and the consonant being G, or fat, the vowel being A and the consonant being T. Then we're going to double the consonant, so F-A-T-T plus E-R to get our comparative form. So hotter, bigger, fatter. And for the superlative, we're still going to double the consonant, but we're going to add est. So hottest, biggest, fattest. If the adjective ends in y, like happy, silly, or lonely, we're going to drop the y and change it to I and add er. I don't know why, but we like dropping the y and changing it to I in English. It's a very common thing. So happier, sillier, lonelier. Lonelier looks a little bit strange, but that is correct. That's how you would write that word. So superlative is the same. We drop the y, change it to I, and add est. It becomes happiest, silliest, and loneliest. Okay. And then long adjectives. So examples like interesting or beautiful, they have several syllables. We went over last week.